Hey, Jordan, Lee here. Early in the season, you struggled against some of the upper echelon teams you had to play, and you lost some. Now you've roared through the middle of the schedule against the bottom feeders. Where do you think the team's made the greatest strides as you get ready to go play real people again, like Boise, and then the top of the conference in the tournament?
Just being aggressive at all times, especially on offense, attacking downhill. I think we've been solid on defense all year, and that'll continue. We just have to continue to be aggressive on offense, and it's just our mindset that has changed for the most part.
Do you find that the team plays much better with tempo rather than in half-court sets? Where's the biggest comfort zone offensively?
Yeah, we like to get out in transition, but I like us in the half court as well. Every team is better when they get out in transition and get easy buckets, open threes, a lot of open shots come in transition. Open dunks for guys like Keshad. Every team likes to get out in transition, so we're no exception to that. But I like us in the half court as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. We go to John.
Jordan, when you chose San Diego State, was it for games like this? You played some huge regular season and postseason games as well as a freshman, but to play potentially for maybe first place on the line this weekend, how important is it getting opportunities like that?
Yeah, it's exactly what you come here for. Just to have this opportunity, be in this position. These are fun games. Viejas would be packed this weekend. So that's one thing we're missing, but other than that, it's a great opportunity to showcase ourselves, and we look forward to it.
Typically this would obviously be a senior night or senior weekend for yourself, for Matt, for some of the guys that have come in here as fifth-year players or that have transferred in. How do you stay focused and not concern yourself with something that obviously you can't concern yourself with, but this isn't going to be a typical senior day, I would imagine, for you and your family?
Yeah, it's okay. Every senior night I've seen guys get a little emotional. It's not really what I want to do for a game anyway, so it's fine with me. My parents watch every game, so I'll just tell them, I don't know what we'll do, but it's all right. I'm not too worried about that. Focus on the game anyway. We have bigger things to worry about.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. We'll go to Paul.
Hey, Jordan. You talk about those bigger things to worry about. What makes Boise State so good?
They're extremely good in transition. They're physical. They rebound the ball at a high level. They play really good defense. And, they're aggressive, and they just came off 2 really good wins at home. So we know how good they are, tied for first with us. And, it's going to be exactly what we wanted down the stretch.
And then, just as one of the veterans on the team, is there anything you can do to prepare some of the younger players for a game with such magnitude, 2 games of such magnitude?
Just telling them how important it is to be locked in at practice, because that's where it starts. I think there's an element of youth that comes from experience. So once they get these games, under their belt, I think they'll be more comfortable. But just giving them confidence, making sure that they're as confident as they can be and as prepared as they can be when the game comes. And, these guys haven't been rattled all year, so I don't expect that to change.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, Paul. We'll go to Mark.
Jordan, when Boise State played Colorado State, they'd come off 10 straight or 9 straight games against the lower half of the conference, and they looked really sluggish, steps slow, and it took them really a full game before they were able to play to their potential. Is that a concern at all, not having played this level of opponent in about a month and a half now?
It's not really something that we control. We've just been playing hard in practice. Fresno always plays us tough, really tough, and their defense is very stingent whenever we play. So I think we're prepared, and I think we're ready to go.
You talked a lot about just keeping mentally strong during this stretch and not playing the opponent, but just sort of playing to your level. Do you think you guys accomplished that?
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job. You can always look back and say we could have been better here, could have been better there, but I think overall we did a good job. And I was happy with how we handled ourselves during that stretch.
And last thing, I know you've said that you're going to wait till, after the season, you tried not to think about next year. Do you get a sense, do you and the other seniors talk about that at all? And do you get a sense of what this team might look like next year? Because you do have 5 seniors, and it would have a huge impact whether people stay or don't stay on the complexion of the roster for next year.
Yeah, we talk about it a little bit here and there, but our main focus is just playing the games that are in front of us and making the most out of this year, because that's all we have, for sure right now.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. We'll go to Jake.
Hey, Jordan, you've been through almost a full regular season of basketball with COVID, with the protocols and the no fans. I'm just curious with what your expectations were heading into this season and how they kind of played out now that you've been through it.
I try not to have any expectations because I had no idea what was going to happen. A lot of this stuff has been kind of annoying and tedious at times, waking up to get tested, getting tested, doing all this and that. But at the end of the day, we are playing basketball. And in a time like this, I think we're just thankful for that. So I think that not coming into the season with any expectations helped me, deal with this season a little bit better.
Yeah, and you kind of answered it on the tail end there, but I was just curious, now having gone through this season, did it kind of put your love for basketball and just the perspective of how the game can be taken away, better into sight and being able to play more?
Yeah, I think one thing it did is made me appreciate, the fans and what they do for us, especially, our fans, but fans in general. Playing in front of nobody or 25% capacity is just a little different. Growing up, you're used to having people in the stands, used to making a move and people would react. Getting energy from, maybe if I cross this guy over right here, the crowd's going to react. And it's just that excitement that isn't here right now. And it's part of what makes the game fun. So I think appreciating that when it comes back will be at a whole new level.
Hey, Matt, your rebounding numbers have really jumped up in conference play. And obviously there was a change in the starting lineup, things that went along with it. But has your priority and emphasis on that part of your game been a focus for you specifically in conference play?
Definitely it has. Just knowing playing these bigger teams, such as Fresno, Utah State, and now Boise coming up. It's all gang rebound. It's all about gang rebound. Everybody got to go in there and rebound, especially me. Being a two-way player on this team, having to do it both ways. Get out and run in transition, getting boards, and so giving us opportunities to be able to get easy points.
And then, the magnitude of these games is not something that's new to you. However, there are players, teammates, who this is their first experience with this. Is there something that you can do as a veteran leader to kind of prepare them to be at their best Thursday and Saturday?
I can do my job by coming with the same intensity, attitude, and effort to practice as I would before. And so, yes, this is the intensity is ramped up a little bit. This is a momental game for us. So at the same time, I can't come in too high or too low. I got to be the same person I was at the beginning of the season, and I will. And this team will be ready for the challenge.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's go to Lee.
Hey, Matt, we have seen across town, COVID, I think, has interrupted USD 5 times. They lost a ton of games. UCSD's been damaged trying to launch in the Big West, and we've seen obviously what the horrors of what's happened to the kids at New Mexico. How are you surprised that San Diego State was able to get through this without any massive setbacks? And from an athlete standpoint or a student athlete standpoint, how hard has it been to deal with everything you've had to deal with in such a strange environment? Thank you.
Yeah, well, to avoid any issues or complications up until this point, I would say that I am surprised, and it definitely is a hard task to ask of the student athlete, because you do have a life. You do want to go to the store. You want to go out and take a breath, go out and take a walk. and do things that allow you to get out of the house and not feel contained and just bottled up. So in that sense, I definitely think it's been hard, and it's a little bit of a surprise. But at the same time, this university has done a great job in putting protocols and precautions in order for us not to contract any issues, any complications. And so I feel that the student athletes here are really following along with these protocols and abiding by the rules.
Thank you. Up next is John.
Matt, how are you handling and kind of how is your family handling the fact that, this is senior night coming up, senior week for you, and obviously things are different this year. So how does that impact yourself, and how do you remain focused considering that kind of stuff is out of your control?
It's just all about controlling what you can control, and that's it sounds easy. It sounds easy to say and easy to live by, but it isn't. And so I've had conversations with my family, and them wanting to come out here, wanting to come to the game, and me telling them that California, that this isn't San Diego State's rule, but this is rule in California, and it's just not something that we can allow. But at the same time, I can't let that step into my frontal view. My frontal view is Boise State, that game ahead, and not senior night. But I do recognize and acknowledge that these are my last two home games here, and I will give it my all, just as I have any other game.
How special of a relationship do you feel like you've established with the fan base at San Diego State? I mean, you're 90-30. You're forever linked to a 30-2 team. I think you guys are 47-6 the last 2 years. I mean, what type of relationship has it been for you and the people that have taken such a liking to your team over these last 4 years?
It's been amazing. It's been great. I've been grateful for the love that I've received over these past 4 years. And I feel like the connection between the fans and I have grown immensely. And so I definitely think this year the fans have done their portion, their due diligence in supporting the team this year in the ways that they could. So I definitely thank the San Diego State community, the fans, all the support that they've given Jordan and I over these last 4 years, and us being here on this ride, because it's been a great one, and I'm happy, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Thanks, Matt.
John, we'll go to BJ.
Hey, what's the scouting report on Boise State, I guess? What are your thoughts on them, and why have they, why are they tied with you guys for first right now?
I think they're tied with us for first because they're well coached, and they play hard. They run their offense. Derek Austin is a very, very good player. He's very, very good getting downhill, going to his right. They also have other pieces to the puzzle, just like us. So I think coming in, it'll just be all about defense. It'll be a battle on the defensive end on both sides, and so we'll see who can grind it out first.
They obviously added a lot of transfers. You've played them a lot of times, but it seems like their athleticism has improved this year with some of the guys they've brought in, their length, things like that. How different is this Boise team maybe compared to some of the ones you played the last couple of years?
And definitely what you just said, and teams being more athletic as the years have gone on, and Chandler Hutchison being there. I would say he was the most athletic player on their team, and which I would think I was a freshman that year. And then now moving on to my senior year, now they have Derek Austin, key jab. Even Dennis at their point guard is athletic. Armis is down there, is a strong brute. Seemingly they've always had a strong brute down there on the offensive, defensive glass. Big burly guy in there, so it'll be a battle. It'll be a test for us, but we'll be ready.
My final thing, I mean, are they similar to you guys in a lot of ways where you have multiple guys that can beat you, and it could be a different guy on a different night maybe, and it's not like, oh, just, take care of Alston and you'll be okay, I mean, it seems like there are a lot of similarities in the two teams with how deep you guys are.
Yeah, definitely. Boise State runs really deep, and looking at their scouting report, looking at their roster, they got a lot of guys in Dutrieve and Dennis and Alston and Keyjab, all these guys that can put the ball in the basket, so just like us, just as us, and it's a lot to worry about. But at the same time, the coaching staff is going to put together a game plan for us to follow, and we're going to go out and execute it.
Thanks, BJ. We'll go to Mark.
Matt, Jordan and some of the other seniors have said they're going to wait till the end of the season to make a decision about whether to come back for the extra year that the NCAA has granted. You have sort of sounded like this is it for you. You said these are your last 2 games. Given how close you were last year, is that accurate?
I would say it's pretty accurate. And it's something I try not to focus on is that decision. But I am on track to graduate this year. I am on track to play my last 2 games as we speak today in the present. And so I'm a senior in college. The way I see it, I wouldn't have to come back for a 5th year, but I do have that availability. But all the preparation I've done over the course of my life and over the course of my high school career, over the course of my college career, I really haven't thought about taking years back and replaying years. I've always prepared myself to move forward and move forward to the next level.
Did what you went through with your knee injury this year maybe scare you a little bit in that if you did want to come back, there's always that threat of injury derailing a pro career? Of
course. There's always that unknown, that factor of what if and getting hurt. My knee injury this year could have been a lot worse than it is now, and I could not be playing right now. So that's something I'm really grateful for to have, to be able to playing right now, to be able to be on the court contributing with my team. So that definitely is something to think about when considering that decision.
And there are 4 of the seniors in this team. Do you suspect it? Do you think any of them will come back next year? Do you think because it obviously could radically change the roster and the complexion of the team next year? Do you think we'll see some of these guys back?
I honestly can't say, and I can't speak for them. We've had our talks about it and our conversations about it, but at the end of the day, it's their choice, and what they feel is best fit for them is likely best fit for them. So I can't speak for them. You have to talk to them yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And it looks like we got one last question from John Schaefer.
I got one more, Mike. Matt, if you guys made the NCAA tournament, talking about the dynamic of not having fans and family all year, essentially, if you made the NCAA tournament, would you have family travel to Indianapolis to see you play this year?
Indefinitely. Without a doubt, I would have them come out. It would be the only right thing to do. My family has been here every step of the way with me along this ride, and not just in college, not just in high school, but from day one, and especially my father. So that's something that I would look out for, something I would seek out, something I would definitely request.
Yeah, so a motivational factor, though, to keep the season going, obviously, to play in front of family that you haven't really played in front of all year.
Definitely it is.